Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us in this webinar. So today we want to focus on SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud for Insights and its placement within the overall production context. So we want to show you what capabilities are inherent to the solution and how you can leverage them. So in this session, we will start with an overview and introduction to the SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud for Insights, looking at the core capabilities of this solution. After that, we will take a look at its pre-delivered and standard features and functions. Then we will cover the DMCi custom functionalities. And of course, we will show you how this interconnection works between the execution side and the insights part. Finally, we will perform a live demo, and we will close the session with some questions and answers. So I want to highlight that this webinar is part of our Industry 4.0 series. So today we will take a deep dive into DMC for Insights. But if you want to obtain more details about the execution module or higher level introduction to DMC, you can of course check our previous webinars that are all posted in our YouTube channel. Okay, so before we get started, let me introduce ourselves. My colleague Alexander focuses on SAP Industry 4.0, and with that on the SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud and the Intelligent Asset Management portfolio. My name is Eugenia, and I have a background in planning, manufacturing, and asset management, and I'm also part of our Industry 4.0 team. So just a few practical terms for this webinar. The presentation will be recorded. But of course, after the session, so you will receive this link to that recording. Everybody will be muted right now. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate to raise this question in the chat box that is on the right side of your screen. So we will be collecting all those questions and we will answer them at the end of our presentation. And then the duration of this webinar will be more or less 45 minutes, including the Q&A session. So before we get started with DMCi, let us briefly have a look at who we are in a nutshell. So we are an SAP Gold partner with a history of more than 50 years, and we have more than 650 consultants globally, so going from Americas through Europe to Asia. And what's really particular from us is that we are 100% employee-owned. So this means that we have 200 shareholders that are active employees of Westernacher. We work covering the full SAP digital supply chain solution portfolio. So from planning to manufacturing up to logistics execution, and of course, all these integrated into S/4HANA. For today's session, both of us are part of our Industry 4.0 team that focuses on the aspect of asset management and manufacturing with SAP technology. And we're basically bridging planning and logistics execution, but we're also integrating machines, so OT and processes. And when we talk about Industry 4.0, we of course refer to it from the IT perspective, but we have also a strong focus on the business angle. Okay, so let's get started with an overview of the Digital Manufacturing Cloud. As you can clearly see, the elements of production execution and insights represent here the main parts of the DMC. So the execution module includes the functionalities to perform a seamless production execution, whereas the insights part is here responsible for the data analysis and KPI monitoring. So as we can see in this cloud, we have also different side components. So we have the resource orchestration, or what we call also RIO, that is on the left-hand side here, and combines the functionalities to dispatch and sequence operations to the different work centers or resources within different time slots. We have also the automation component that enables engineers and operators to control machines without human intervention. And we can also see this manufacturing network that allows you to extend your IT landscape and collaborate with network partners like customers, suppliers, original equipment manufacturers, and other service providers. So as we can see, DMC is made to easily communicate. So all the way down, we see S/4HANA for transactional data and master data, as well as plant connectivity for machine automation. So we also see the possibility to deploy DMC on the edge for these mission critical applications in manufacturing to provide business continuity. So if you want to know more about DMC, so as I have just said, don't hesitate to look at our previous webinars, that in those ones, we're really explaining in more detail the overview of the full digital manufacturing cloud solution. So let's now jump right into the digital manufacturing cloud for insights, that is our main topic for today. So as we know, it is a big challenge for any company today to transform existing data into enriching insights. So SAP is tackling these challenges with the DMCi, which helps to generate insights from manufacturing data and in general combines the following 4 main capabilities that we can see here in the screen. So starting at the top left, we talk about insightful KPIs on different levels. So as different information is needed for different levels within a company, DMCi includes this functionality to represent the entire hierarchy of a company. This allows various analyses to be carried out on multiple levels, so going from an enterprise level all the way down to the individual resource or work center. Then we see here this tight shop floor connection that is achieved by directly integrating various physical objects on the shop floor. So this will actually enable a direct and central management of these physical objects, and this will allow us to perform a real-time analysis. Then on the bottom left, we have this big strength of the DMCi, that is its high configurability. So companies will decide whether to utilize the standard pre-delivered KPIs and analytic tools, or if they want actually to customize their own KPIs and create their own reports and dashboards. So this insights module is giving us the flexibility to design and tailor the solution to each company's needs. Finally, we talk about this end-to-end operational visibility. So to get a holistic overview and make the analysis even more valuable, data has to be centralized from shop floor systems, execution systems, and various business sources. So in this case, multiple adapters and interfaces are provided to ensure that all commonly used communication formats can be really integrated into this insights solution. So with this, I will let now my colleague Alex present you in detail the core functionalities of the Digital Manufacturing Cloud for insights.
Okay, so on this slide, we want to present basically what the possible KPIs and indicators are, which can be displayed and utilized within the DMC for insights. So in the middle row at the top, we start with the standard KPIs that are pre-delivered within the DMC and can be used basically right away. And that is, of course, when the respective production processes are in place to generate the relevant data. So to name just a few current standard KPIs that are already maintained, this is, for example, start and finish on time of specific orders, but also the overall equipment effectiveness, for example, which represents the central indicator not only within production, but also plays a big role within the DMC. The number of standard KPIs, of course, will grow and grow even more the longer the DMC exists and is on the market, and also, of course, dependent of what the customers require. Below the standard KPI box, you can see that there is also the possibility to design your own KPIs within the Analytical Modeler. So this is basically a standard tool to combine data from different sources and in an easy-to-use way. But I'll get into this a bit further in a few seconds. What we also wanted to highlight is the capability to create reports and KPIs of transactional data within the dashboard designer. So as the name already implies, the dashboard designer is a tool to design your own customized dashboards. So it basically extends the functionality of standard and customized KPIs, as they are, of course, also based on transactional data. But within the dashboard designer, or the dashboard designer enables the creation of not only descriptive data reports, where you can apply, but you can also apply different measurements on the data. So for example, you can display changeover times or specific details of non-conformance specifics and so forth. Coming to the bottom of the boxes, we can see that we are able to display the pure information of the different indicators in real time. So we can, for example, monitor the temperature of a certain machine on the shop floor for a given time period. So to display the various KPIs, we can either integrate them into the standard dashboards, which you can see on the left-hand side, which are already integrated into the DMC, or we can integrate them into the already mentioned dashboard designer, which is on the right-hand side. When we take a look now at the pre-delivered applications from DMC, we can see that they are structured based on a company's hierarchy in general. So meaning that data is assessed and displayed in some applications on relatively low levels, showing only specific aspects of production, or you have applications where information is presented on a high level view, displaying KPIs relevant for the entire enterprise, and from there on you can then drill down into the specific KPIs. So now, as the name implies, Global Insights provides the possibility to look into the high-level situation of your enterprise and your different plants. So high-level executives can basically quickly see his or her KPIs current status, but also the historic development. So this can be viewed on a centralized dashboard, and where you can see all your different plans and also compare them with each other. As we go down to plant insights and KPI analytics, the KPIs get more specific and focusing on certain parts of production, basically. So this allows for root cause analysis on lower hierarchy levels, where you can investigate how the different values of KPIs basically have come about. Finally, sophisticated alert management has also been implemented, basically providing a centralized tool to handle and also resolve alerts, which we will also see within the demonstration. So now, as we have mentioned before, you can configure your own KPIs with the Analytical Modeler, which you see on the left-hand side, which is basically a framework enabling companies to configure custom KPIs with their preferred objects and measurements. So basically how it works, or how it can be broken down, is there are 4 steps where the fundamental procedure is always the same. So you at first define your and select your master data objects. For example, you could take a material, you define on which level you want to analyze them, for example, on a work center level, and you choose the formula you want to apply. So let's take in this example first pass yield, for example, and at last you choose also the dashboard you want the data to be visualized in. So in our example, you would then get a KPI that tells you the first pass yield ratio of a certain material for a specific work center. And the goal of the Analytical Modeler is to perform this, or to provide this functionality in an easy-to-use application, so that you can do it from a business point of view. So as mentioned before, you have also the extension capability within the dashboard designer, where you can not only display descriptive data, but also decide on a certain extent on how to combine data from different sources and perform measurements to create new KPIs. And lastly, you will be enabled to integrate several data streams coming from third-party MES systems to create KPIs either through the Analytical Modeler or integrate other KPIs into your dashboard. So now let's come to the actual integration between execution and insights, describing some of the possible connection points there are. So basically you can say that there are certain trigger points within the production process that produce information. So whether they are triggered manually within a production operator dashboard or automatically by a machine on the shop floor. So regarding the DMC for execution, these trigger points can range from non-conformance logging over changes in the equipment status to information triggering points of start, hold, and completion of a material during the production process. So to give an example, maybe we can take the actual starting point of a production order to measure the indicator start on time. So which at first place sounds a bit profane, but it can provide possibilities to improve your production process massively. So if you know that a specific work center is starting its orders most of the time on time and another one doesn't, we can investigate basically the root cause analysis of that. And this DMC already has multiple standard functionalities like these standard KPIs that listen to these events coming from the shop floor and are able to transform this data into meaningful information. And lastly, you will be able also to play these KPIs back to the production operator dashboard. So you may then, or the operator may have then a box in his POD saying, showing the respective KPI he wants to see. Now coming to the DMC's OEE capability, maybe upfront for those of you who may not know or have forgotten, the OEE indicator is based on availability, the performance, and the production quality of a certain resource or work center, or basically any other instance on a certain hierarchy level. So within the DMC, there are multiple applications within execution as well as in insights that are focusing on OEE measuring. So within the OEE POD, operators can monitor individual machines and production lines directly on the shop floor and report and react to scheduled as well as unscheduled downtimes. And they can tag production speed losses that have occurred during production processes, so that later on we can perform root cause analysis on what these speed losses, why these speed losses occurred. Now in the OEE Insights application, you are then able to bring together all of these different OEE measurements across the different hierarchy levels. So you basically have this broad overview. And the data can, for example, come from this direct OEE POD. And from this higher level, you can then investigate this data throughout different time periods and drill down to different hierarchy levels. However, we will see all of this within a demo within a few minutes. Now, lastly, what we wanted to highlight as well was the integration functionality of the DMC for Insights. So some of the applications Eugenia has already shown, but if you look at the top, we can see the Analytics Cloud. So you're able to integrate stories from the Analytics Cloud into your DMC Insights solution, but you can also turn this around and integrate analytics or DMCi dashboards in the Analytics Cloud. Further on, you can also integrate DMCi to SAP IBP or data from it, so that you improve the production planning, basically. Maybe also interesting to highlight within the SAP S/4HANA and ERP integration to SAP DMC. So there's a seamless integration into the QM and also the of course the PP module. Okay, so now I'm heading back to Eugenia to start with the demo finally.
Okay, so for today's demo, we have actually prepared a story where we can put in evidence the tight integration between the execution and the insights module. So we have here Eugenia, a production operator that uses the production operator dashboard to execute the different production processes and to raise alerts, to declare non-conformances, or to even schedule downtime of an equipment. So here we can see purely how the execution part is going to perform some assembly operations. And then we have Sandra, who is the production supervisor, and she is going to manage the different alerts that are being raised from the execution side. So she's not only going to manage the alerts and treat them, but she's also going to monitor in real time what is the performance of the equipment, what is the availability, quality KPI, etc. And then finally, we have Alex, who is the plant manager, and he's interested in getting more higher level insights. So within DMCi, he will be able to check the different reports and to perform some root cause analysis. So let me now go into the system and okay. So now I'm in my DMC system. So I guess you all can see it right now. Here, DMC is going to be structured with different applications, right, that are grouped based on the different components on DMC. So we can see all here, the first applications are the insights part, which is actually the ones that we will show you today. Then we have full group of applications concerning manufacturing execution. We have manufacturing network, the personalized dashboards, custom reports, and KPIs. So within these applications, we're actually able to create our own dashboards. And well, we have master data management and so on. So here, enterprise hierarchy, for example, to create our hierarchy. And well, there are plenty of them. So for today, we will just focus on the scenario I've just described. So I am Eugenia, I'm a production operator, and what I will do is I will enter within this execution part to the work center POD to perform some assembly operations, and so that we can gather some data to then analyze within the insights part. So I am at the assembly work center. So my resource is AC1. This production operator dashboard, as we have just seen, it's part of the execution component, so it's not really our main focus for today, but it's like this as we can show you how the different data can be gathered, right? So we have here, I have my work list, so I have a queue of orders and SFCs I need to perform. So I will get into my first one. And from this production operator dashboard that has been actually configured for my own needs. So this is an interface we can, of course, customize and choose the different functionalities we want to see here. So in my case, since I'm an assembly operator, I'm interested in checking some work instructions. I can check data collections. I can see the components that I will assemble. Well, all this, as I have previously already mentioned, all this is really described in detail within our past webinars about execution. So now what I will just do is I will imagine I'm in a situation where my equipment is all of a sudden facing a problem. So what I will do is I will go into the action button and I will change my equipment status. So my resource AC is in status enabled. Well, I would put it on unscheduled down because I had an issue due to mechanical. I mean, I have recognized I have a mechanical issue, and it's actually a failure due to overload. So I will report this right now because I'm not able to produce anymore. So I will put change, and the status of my resource has changed. So now, after having reported this, what I will do is I will raise an alert to Sandra, my supervisor, so that she can take action as soon as possible. So I will ask for a maintenance request, and this is an alert that has the highest severity, so in this case error, and I will notify Sandra. I will send her an email, and I will say equipment down to mechanical, and I will raise the alert. Okay, so now we can see how from the execution side we can actually well, perform production, but also raise alerts and report what is really happening on the shop floor. So now if I put it into Sandra's shoes, so Sandra, she needs to supervise what is going on in the shop floor, right? So what she will use is this Manage Alerts app to check all the different alerts that have been reported. For example, here I have a date range from November the 2nd till November the 9th. So she can see within these different KPIs the number of alerts that are in error, the warnings, new information completed, etc. And she can actually filter by the alert type. If it's a maintenance request, for example, the one we created, the status, the severity. So here, for example, if I go into error, I can see this alert that I have just created. So November 9th, 11:27, Eugenia, so the operator has just raised an alert, is in status new. So I'm Sandra and I'm monitoring these alerts. So I want to go ahead and treat it. I will check it. I will see that I have all the information I need to react. So this alert has been created for the ASI work center. The resource is ASI1. The material that was being produced is a motherboard. I have the order number, SFC number, etc. So in this case, I will change the status. I will put it, for example, either on acknowledge or in process or completed. We'll say that this alert is being in process for now. It's still not yet completed. And when we go down, we go back, sorry, and we refresh, the alert status has changed. So this application is basically doing this, is helping monitor the alerts on the different levels. So here we can also adapt filters and we can create the layout. We can reduce the scope as we need by filtering on date created by, the operation, the order, the plant, etc. Okay, so apart from this, Sandra, who's the production supervisor, not only wants to manage the alerts, but she also wants to know what is happening in real time in the shop floor. So for this assembly line she's in charge of, she wants to know what are the orders that have been produced, how is my performance, the availability, etc. So she can go to the OEE Pod. This is an application that it's provided in order to monitor in real time my overall equipment effectiveness. So if I filter by the resource that I'm interested in, so this is November 9th, I have, sorry, it's ASI1. The operation activity that Eugenia was performing was the assembly, and I can filter. So here, Sandra, the supervisor, can have full visibility on what is going on in that assembly resource for the shift. So this is our current shift. And as Alex mentioned before, so we have this OEE that it's actually calculated with the availability, performance, and quality. So with only one screen, we can have a clear overview on what is going on. So I can see that I have one order has been produced. I can check the standard rate, the start time, end time, the quantity that has been produced. I can check the different events that happened. So I can see there has been a speed loss in production. I can see that my equipment has been unscheduled down. So this is probably the downtime that Eugenia just reported. I can even change the resource status here, and I have the availability summary. So all this, we have it for today, but we can, of course, go and check, for example, what happened yesterday. So yesterday, November the 8th, I go again into the operation I'm interested in, and I can see all the orders that have been performed yesterday, for example. I can see that there has been some quality issues, and probably this order 10, the total order plan order was 3, but there has 2 been produced, so 1 has been scrapped. This is probably why my quality KPI is lower. So within this application, we can really have an overview on what is happening day per day in our shop floor. So now I'll just go back to November 9th, so today. And I want to show you then how we can display what Eugenia she just did. So first thing is we have this speed loss. If I go into it, I can see I have 25 seconds of speed loss for the order 19. So when Eugenia was performing the assembly, she was 19 seconds slower than the standard rate. And actually here, I can tag the speed loss assigning different reason codes. So in this case, I can say, for example, it's because there was a poor circuit board, and I can decide how much I will tag as speed loss. So here the full quantity is just 0.48 minutes. So the speed loss has been added, and I have a reason code that then I will be able to analyze later on. Whenever I want to build some reports, I will know these different speed loss, where they are coming from, right? Then if I go back, then so my untagged event now is at 0 because I've already tagged it. And in the unscheduled downtime, I will probably find this failure due to overload. So today, Eugenia, she recognized the equipment was in failure, so she actually created a downtime. She assigned the reason code, and I can see the start time. End time, it's not yet there because the downtime is still ongoing, right? So if I go back, I can see here within my availability summary that from 11:34, the equipment is unscheduled down. And myself from this application, so if I'm the production supervisor, I'm checking all this information, I can also put it back to enable. So either from the production operator dashboard or from this application, we can perform this kind of actions. So I will change the equipment status here, and I will put it back to enabled. Okay, so I guess this is it from my side. Now I will let Alex explain you in detail how now a plant manager can get some insights on a higher level.
As you guys can see, my setup looks a bit different than Eugenia's because I hid all of these other tiles within the overall dashboard, or the overview, let's say like this. So I only have the insights modules which are relevant for today. Now, what we want to show you is the OEE insights, where all of the different OEE data comes together. So basically, what we can see here at the top is that we have several filtering options. So we have the enterprise hierarchy, so we can go through the complete enterprise hierarchy and see the different OEE calculations on the different hierarchy nodes. Now, to show you the integration between execution and insights, we have selected the hierarchy node SE1 and the time range today. So you can basically see that these are the same values as within the OEE POD. We can also filter for trend type daily. We can select a certain shift and also filter for certain materials. Now, as we have the time range set to today, we have no OEE trend because it's only today. The cumulative trend is also just for today. I will shortly change the time range just to explain what happens when Eugenia performed actions within the OEE POD. you can basically see here the total production time. So this is basically the total availability of our resource until the SFC or the material production has been completed. Then we can perform scheduled downtime, which will be subtracted then from the total production time, and we then get the loading time. And within here, the scheduled downtime, we can now see the downtime that just has been performed by Eugenia. So within the POD, which gives us the production time. And what we also see, it's a very small here, but is the speed loss that Eugenia has just tagged. So we have a speed loss of minus 0.48 minutes. As we don't have any quality loss, our net value operating time is the same basically as the net operating time. So basically this net operating time is what we want to achieve. So this is when the our resource, as one has the highest quality or produces as the quality good, we have the best performance, and we have the total availability. What we can see at the bottom is the reason codes for the distribution. So here we added the performance losses and the availability losses as well. So this little tile here can be seen. This is what Eugenia has just tagged to our speed loss, basically to our downtime, unscheduled downtime. So we have unscheduled downtime of 8:08 minutes, and which is failure to overload. Now, when we change the time range to month to date, we can see that this changes. So we have the OEE trend, which is 28.71%, which is really bad. We can see the OEE trend for the last 3 days. There's no data for November the 7th because it was a Sunday. We can see the cumulative trend within the graph, which is a bit more beautiful than before because we have several data points and so on and so forth. And basically you can take any time range you want. So you can also define a custom time range or a date range that you want to display the data back to you to where you need it. And also each KPI you see here, so the availability, the performance, and quality, if you click on here, you have own KPIs. So you see, or not KPIs, you have the contributors, how these availability has come together. But this is not part of today's demo. Maybe we will show this somewhere else, sometime else. What we also wanted to show you real quick is the Plant Insights module, where you also have this filtering options, again, where you can also save this in a variant. So this variant always pops up when you open this dashboard. So if you have saved, for example, these filter materials, these will always come up if you open this dashboard. Here you can see the different KPIs that we have maintained for me now, and you can easily configure this if you have the respective KPIs in place. So when we click on configuration, we could, for example, take the start on time KPI, push it over to selected KPIs, like this. And we can save it, and now we can see that it's immediately updated our dashboard. So we have start on time, finish on time. So there's some orders that we didn't start on time but finished on time, so we performed a bit faster, past due orders, and a bit more sophisticated KPIs like production order quantity variance and completion quantity accuracy. Now, Here again, we can increase the time period. So what we're going to do, we're going to do to quarter to date, and we can see that we have some graphs here, basically with different data points. So, and as you can see as well, the KPIs at the top are colored, as well as we have these lines within here where you can see if the KPIs are on a level that is okay or not. So green is okay, orange not, and red is critical. And we have moved to a place where it's the finish on time gets better. Now, the last thing we want to show you is the view in Advanced Analytics Cloud. So this is basically where you go deeper into the respective KPI. So another application opens here, and here we have different segments on this side. So on the left-hand side, you can see the KPI we have selected. We can filter for different materials. We have the time period, quarter to date. This is all coming from the Plant Insights application. And on the left-hand side, we have the hierarchy again. And here we have more detailed information. So we can, for example, view our data. Now it's quarter, so we only have one data point because we have the time period quarter to date, and we have selected view by quarter. And if we would example take a week, we had several different, we could view the finish on time per week. What we have at the bottom here is the productions order that have not been finished on time by material. So here you can do the root cause analysis. So you can see the contributors at the bottom here that have been contributing to productions orders not being finished. And you could then investigate, okay, why did this specific production order didn't finish in time? Now, this is basically everything we wanted to show you, more or less. I hope this was a good level of or depth for you guys, and you could follow. Please raise any questions you like. Please give us your feedback so that we can improve ourselves as well. And I thank you really much for attending this webinar. I hope you guys had fun as well. So are there any questions?
Yes, so very quickly, we're already at 45, but I think we can quickly answer to one question we had. It's about licensing. If you could explain how the licensing works for DMC.
So basically there are three different licensable products. So we have this insights module, we have this execution model, and also the resource orchestration module. And each of them are going to be licensed individually. However, within the execution model, you have everything. So you have the insights and the resource orchestration module within your execution package if you choose that. If you want to see or get an impression basically on how much this costs, you can go into the SAP website, go to the DMC product overview, and there you can see basically, or there's a menu bar where you can see or get an impression how much it will cost you per resource. Yeah, how much the license will cost. Yeah.
Okay, so we have received some other questions, but I guess we will address them via email. So we will contact you directly. We will come back with an answer, but now we're already out of time. So thank you very much for attending this webinar. And yeah, we are going to be awaiting your attendance in the next webinars to come.
Yeah, so, thank you. Thank you very much.